Greetings, everybody. I'm sharing this picture with you because don't ask me why, but when I look at it, I feel so happy. I feel at peace just looking at this picture. A parent gave this to me a few years ago, and it does the same thing to me as well. So when I need a peaceful place, I surround myself with these things. Spent the last week in solitude, 1 week. And though I love my family so much, every so often I have to get away. And if I'm not physically able to do that, I still have to find an escape. And thank goodness I am blessed to have people around me that give me the space that I need when the urge comes. So I spent the last week in solitude, reading and meditating. It's a beautiful thing. We all need that. We all have to separate ourselves from the media or social media or TV or friends or even family. It's very difficult to do. And you don't know how attached you are to your computer or to your phone or to TV until you remove yourself, but it's very necessary. And during this time, I had, a lot of revelations, as is the case always when I take time. And when I came out of it, there were a lot of questions waiting for me, you know. But today I'm just going to barely touch on two things that came up while I was in absentia. Individuals wanting to know how I felt about the Dove ad. And more recently, individuals are asking me about the situation in Somalia. Some of the things that I discovered as I was in hiatus, if you can call it that, is that we, as people of color, pay attention to the wrong things. And oftentimes, as Black people, we because our bark is really louder than our bite, nobody really pays attention to us. And we have to learn to reprogram our minds. First of all, in my opinion, I think when it comes to religion and politics, the best position to be in is to be neutral. So when you're neutral, you're able to then listen to every argument that is presented. You're not rejecting something because it's something that is new to you, but you're opening yourself to I'm very open to every religious thoughts and ideas. I want to know what they are. I want to know what the foundational truth is, or the dogma or the doctrine is about. And then, based on my own spiritual relationship, um, with my divine self and those who are around me that I cannot see, and the universe teaching me, I know what to accept and what to reject. But I know it's important not to allow anger to define you, or anger to be that tool you always run to when someone says something or does something that you don't like. It's not a good thing. But first, before you can wipe your slate clean, you have to first get to that point where you understand that all things lead to one thing. And there are no absolute truth, but based on your experience and your quest for knowledge, you will find that which is closest to the truth. Because we're always searching, there's no ultimate truth. We're always searching. As human beings, we're always wanting to know. So when I'm asked about the dove, I'm realizing that a lot of Black people are approaching that situation with the dove ad, you know, from a physical place when you should be looking at it from a spiritual place. Um, uh, who is it offensive to? Because it's not offensive to me. Dove ad showing a Black woman using their product and becoming white is not offensive to me, because as a older black woman, all I have known is this kind of thing. All I have seen is that kind of what you perceive to be disrespect. It's nothing new. I'm saying to you that after 500 years of slavery, black people should not be appalled about anything. I think the reason why black people are offended about Dove is like they're showing you that you don't really matter as far as they're concerned. You looking dirty, and then you using their product to become clean. They're only really feeding in on to your own desires. It is the black man and the black woman, for the most part, who have bought into these or internalized these messages that they received since childhood and then played out. So when you find individuals saying, you know, I don't like this, and Dove comes out and apologize, they know that's all black people need. An apology will do, and not one less soap will be sold. You know, is this something that I want to jump on? What Dove is upsetting me? No, they're not. Dove cannot upset me because they're just doing what they always do. So they won't do that again, but they'll do something even more offensive. And am I going to make uproar and ask them to apologize to me every time they do something wrong? No, I'm not going to do that. You cannot change other people. You've got to change you. Most important thing is to change you. The more you seek and beg for acceptance, the more you're going to be rejected. It's annoying. Even if you see that quality in your kid, always wanting to beg other person to be their friend, it's something you've got to take out of that child. You have to censor that in your child. You have to teach your child to love his or herself, and allow other persons to be who they are and not try to change other people. Let them be. And also, it is important that you let people speak their truth, because it's the only way you'll know. If Dove doesn't make this kind of ad, then you don't know how they see black people. How would that be offensive to me? It's knowledge, it's power, it enlightens me and causes me to do things differently. If all you have is a big uproar and big screaming and, acting like children because you hear something you don't like, then who's going to change anything for you? Don't change the other person, change you. And someone asked me about the situation in Somalia, with hundreds of people are killed. Um, and again, there's disappointment. Really? When did anybody tell you that Somalia or anybody in Africa is meaningful to them? Why are you always asking other folks to bring meaning to the lives of people who look like you and I? I don't get it. I just don't understand it. Individuals who value their people tend to come out and, speak well of their people and put things in place to support their people, and show love and compassion towards their own people. Now, can I ask a man or a woman to abandon their children to come and take care of mine? Can I ask someone to have my children's best interests above their own? That's how I choose to see it. So if people are dying in Somalia, of whatever, whoever is doing it or whatever is responsible for their death, as a person of color, it is my business to show compassion. And if I'm able to help financially, or if I'm able to send my prayers, the virtual prayers, and when I say prayers, we're talking for our own people. Nothing is new under the sun. 20 years from now, when someone comes out and says something horrible about a black person, or it's not a mistake, it's something that they feel. And if they even apologize for it, what is that going to do? Why is apology so important to us? Do you think that anything that I've ever said in this space, if I apologize, that's going to go away? Or I will be forgiven? Or they'll just say, oh, yeah, she said she's sorry. That doesn't mean anything. Apology is a fool's gold. An apology is a fool's gold. And everyone knows that, but the fool who's always begging for it. Peace and blessings to the people of Somalia. as they go through this time. But we're black people, man. We have to understand that some of these things are happening because we have moved away from what is right. We're moved away from our ancestral memories. We've moved away from the things that are important to our forebears. We don't care about those things, therefore, they don't care about us. We have accepted every other religious faith but that of our people. What a big insult. Today is Heroes Day in Jamaica, and I want to say, blessings to all our heroes. Truthfully speaking, not all of those people are my hero. The heroes in Jamaica, that no, no, no. My heroes are Marcus Garvey, Paul Bogle, Sam Sharp, and Nanny. They are the only hero that I acknowledge as my hero. I don't care who everybody else is. These guys are my hero. They set either my mind free or physically they took me out of bondage. Now I'm not saying that I'm not in bondage anymore, because believe me, we still are. But at least I have an understanding that with Paul Bogle's action, because of what he did, he forced the hands of people to say we're not going to accept this anymore. And I don't condone violence, but there are times when violence is necessary. If it means that your life is threatened, and violence is how you're going to escape. Violence have been meted upon the bodies of African people for generation to this very moment. And don't believe that it was just Europeans, because the Arabs also went there and took our people into captivity. Hundreds of years. And those who got freedom only got freedom from being rebellious. But rebellion doesn't just have to be violence. Rebellion can start in the spirit, getting to that point where you say, I'm going to wipe this slate clean. I'm wiping the slate completely clean. I'm not going to accept anything that I've been taught, because most of what we've been taught as African people are ideologies that were meant to destroy us and to sort of quieten or power within us once you know the truth. So there's a few books I want to recommend, but I'm sitting on them for a little bit as I, meditate on things and figure out some things for myself. But I really am beginning to understand our position. And here's the part that's very sad. Many of our people will not be saved. Even if you go there and pronounce this thing upon them and you do a wrought miracle in front of their eyes, they will not accept it, because they're so programmed. They're so brainwashed. They have the Stockholm syndrome. So they would rather stay with the evil that they know than pursue something that is going to allow them to live better lives. There's just nothing you can do about it. But nothing that could happen now or anytime in the future that is denigrating my people from other folks. It's not a surprise to me. There's nothing worse than 500 years of slavery or more. There's nothing worse. There's nothing worse than efforts being made to ensure that a group of people remain as dust. There's nothing worse than individuals coming out and making it very clear that they don't give a tutu about you. There's nothing worse than making you always have to apologize for what they have done wrong. There's nothing worse than not being able to say that this is wrong without worrying about backlash. There's nothing worse about, trying to seek the attention of people, always trying to gain acceptance from individuals who make it very clear to you that you mean zero. I don't know what else to say. No one can do anything now or forever that surprises me. Anything that is done that causes black people to go up in uproar, it's time for us to stop saying, oh, why did you do that? Or give persons an opportunity to explain themselves. Why do they give you an opportunity to explain yourself? When you do wrong, who's standing up and say, forgive her or forgive him? Let's just turn the other cheek. Nobody does that. It's just ridiculous. But I get it, after hundreds of years of indoctrination, it's not easy. So sometimes I get very annoyed at black people. And then there another time when I calm myself and I really say, well, programming requires reprogramming in order to get rid of that. So the dove thing doesn't bother me at all. It's just another way to show how these individuals feel about Black people. It's not how they feel about me that matters, it's how I feel about myself. And in terms of Somalia, a million lives of Somalian lives is worth a zero compared to one life in other races or other people. Not because it's true, but because you made it so. Because if you value yourself or value your own people, you would be always asking someone to show love. You can't beg me and force me to love your kid. In the same way, I can't force people to acknowledge or respect or why? Why would you? Why would I ask a collective few to show love and compassion to me when there's nowhere in history when that has ever happened? Nowhere. Because we're still under the impression that some Lord, somebody told me on my channel recently that well before some Lord and some other people freed Black people. Really? I'm not sure exactly where you're getting your history from, but of course it's told through the perspective of your own people. So you can accept that. I have no problem with that. I just know better. I don't care about Dove ad. But I do care about the Somalian people, and I pray and hope that they'll find peace and that they'll turn back to their roots. Because power, see, that tree is fed from its roots. And until you go back there and water those roots, you will not flourish. You will not grow. Be blessed, everybody.